A very good day to you and welcome to the program. We are shooting today in the shed, and as you can see, we've got some bales of hay at the back that are left over from last winter. The grass is now green. We're into summer now on the farm, so it's a beautiful time of the year. I want to speak to you about preparation. You know, preparation is such an important thing in a Christian's life. To be prepared and to always be on time for maybe a surprise visitor, because you never know when somebody is coming to visit you. And as Christians, we've got to have a good testimony, haven't we? Now, if we go to Mark chapter 14 and verse 15, we will see that Jesus himself was always very well organized and very well prepared. Mark chapter 14, verse 15, he says, "And then he will show you a large upper room, furnished and prepared. There make ready for us." I've been to that upper room in the old city in Jerusalem. I was in that room by myself, with my wife, and I remember lying prostrate on the ground thinking this is where the Holy Spirit came and visited the disciples, and tongues of fire settled on each one of their heads. It must have been an incredible, incredible time. Now, Jesus told the disciples, Peter and John actually, to go to the old city. He must have been on the Mount of Olives, and you will find a man. And that man, you will tell him that you want to book the upper room for our Passover feast, which was the last supper, as we know it, that Jesus had on earth before he went back to heaven. So important to do things correctly. You know, I want to tell you a little story. I had a campaign in a place called Cedarville, down towards the Eastern Cape of South Africa. Beautiful little town with a big town hall. And some people got together and they wanted to invite me to go and speak there. I said, yes, I'll come. They said, we're going to send a man to you, and this man is not a Christian, but he's a very good organizer. He's the type of guy that will hire a massive aeroplane and take a whole group of South Africans over to London when the Springboks are playing rugby, and he'll do it perfectly. So eventually I was waiting for him, and one day he arrived in this big fancy Mercedes-Benz motor car, and he drove down the road slowly, came onto the farm. He was very abrupt. I think he was also maybe a little bit nervous, shy, and he told me what his name was. I'll just tell you his first name. Mike was his name. Big, stout man. And he said to me, "What are you going to do in Cedarville?" And as I started to explain to him what I was going to do, he cut me short. He said, "Listen, I'm in a bit of a rush." I offered him some tea, coffee. No. I just want to tell you that I will do the preparation for you. I said, "But you haven't even met me yet." "No." He said, "But I will do it. I must go now. Goodbye." And he drove out. I only found out afterwards, the only reason he wanted to come to the farm to meet me is he wanted to see what the farm looked like. Now, if I had been unprepared and the grass had been knee-high in the maize crop and the cattle were skin and bone and the fences were all hanging loose and the road was bumpy, he wouldn't have taken it on. But because he said he saw the farm was in good condition, it was well prepared, he took on the job. And by the way, he gave his life to the Lord in that very meeting that he organized, and he wasn't intending to, but the Holy Spirit was so strong in that meeting, and 14 of his friends as well. So get prepared, because you never know what God's going to call you to do in the future. Jesus bless you. Goodbye.